Ladies and gentlemen, there's a time I was trying to talk about Fred Okengo Matiangi, and I was trying to say that Fred Okengo Matiangi, his popularity by then was actually shooting up, and it was actually having a very nice trajectory. And by that time, every person was expected that Fred Okengo Matiangi, with such a popularity trajectory, he was going to be the main competitor of William Samoei Arap Ruto. But now it looks like the game is changing, that currently the popularity of Fred Okengo Matiangi seems to be stagnant, and the popularity of Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka seems to be gaining momentum. And many people are wondering, why is that happening right away now? So that is actually what I want us to have, a critical analysis, because we want to dive in and try to see what is really happening in the political arena, such that the popularity of Fred Okengo Matiangi seems to be stagnant, while the popularity of Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka seems to be gaining momentum. But before we dive in and try to dissect deeper about all that, I could request you kindly to take a minute and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Give this video a like and share the video to your friends. And whenever you subscribe to this YouTube channel, always make sure to hit the notification bell. And for those ones who have actually subscribed to our YouTube channel, I say thank you. May God bless you, because you are really giving us the inspiration to continue coming up with this kind of political analysis. Now, let us dive back to the discussion. Why the popularity of Fred Okengo Matiangi seems to be stagnating, and while the popularity of Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka actually seems to be gaining momentum. Why is now things looking like that? Let me start by explaining why the popularity of Fred Okengo Matiangi seems to have started becoming stagnant. The first thing why I believe that the popularity of Fred Okengo Matiangi is stagnant is that, remember, there is a time when Rigathi Gachagua told Fred Okengo Matiangi that he should have a party which should have a root from his home ground. But Fred Okengo Matiangi went forward and he engaged Jubilee as a political party, which actually comes from Mount Kenya. And because of that act, now there is a very big conflict between Rigathi Gachagua and Fred Okengo Matiangi. And because of that conflict, you have seen the way Rigiji is telling his people that nobody should come to the mountain. The same way President William Samoei Arap Ruto came into Mount Kenya with the Bible, and we accepted him full-heartedly. But reaching the gate of the seat of presidency, he has stepped from behind. And therefore, we cannot agree that somebody can come into the politics of Mount Kenya from the back door. And the person who Fred Okengo Matiangi is saying that he is coming from the back door is Fred Okengo Matiangi. And for now, we can say for sure that the person who is calling who is actually controlling the political narrative of Mount Kenya is Rigathi Gachagua. And because of that, now Fred Okengo Matiangi is actually stagnant in Mount Kenya, even if he's trying to attempt to be so near to the people of Mount Kenya. The people have started seeing him as a person who is entering into Mount Kenya the same way that William Samoei Arap Ruto did. And because he poses a big competition with Rigathi Gachagua. Rigathi Gachagua is not sleeping, breathing. He's making sure that he takes down Fred Okengo Matiang'i. And because of that conflict, that is why the growth or the popularity of Fred Okengo Matiang'i seems to be stagnated. That is one thing. The second thing is that Fred Okengo Matiang'i has not built a good team, which actually he can use under the Jubilee Party to do a proper campaign across the nation. If you look at Rigathi Gachagua has a proper team. And when he was in the United States of America, you saw what was happening in the ground. You could not tell that Rigathi Gachagua went to United States of America because his soldiers, they were on the ground campaigning for DCP and Rigathi Gachagua. But Fred Okengo Matiang'i, he lacks to have a proper campaigning team. And this is reducing his political popularity. And that is why, of late, he seems to be stagnant. But if Fred Okengo Matiang'i can assemble capable people who will read his campaign across this nation, and we will actually be hearing one voice that if you need to be with Fred Okengo Matiang'i, you must be in Jubilee. And any party which wants to form a coalition with Fred Okengo Matiang'i, by now, it must dissolve itself and it must enter into Jubilee. And if Fred Okengo Matiang'i will be able to do that, then Jubilee will be such a big political party and it will be able to have a proper campaigning team. And now that team will actually be campaigning across the nation for him to have his popularity and the raise in popularity. So, as I have said, because he doesn't have a proper campaigning team, that is why his popularity seems to be stagnant. And lastly, it is because of Jubilee as a party. Even from the Gusii Nation, people have not come into terms that Jubilee will be the vehicle for Fred Okengo Matiang'i. So people are not very comfortable with Jubilee. And because of that, that is why the popularity of Fred Okengo Matiang'i is stagnant. Let us move to the side of Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka popularity is gaining momentum. One, because he is relying on Rigathi Gachagua. And as you know, Rigathi Gachagua is moving across the mountain. And they have agreed that Mount Kenya is zoned and it will file candidates for any political seat. But it will support for presidency Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. And it looks to Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka because he's having very good terms with Rigathi Gachagua. And as you understand, Rigathi Gachagua is a very good mobilizer. He knows the game of mobilization. Take it away or leave it. That is who Rigathi Gachagua is. And because of that, that is why Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka is growing in terms of political popularity. But his popularity is within Ukambani and Mount Kenya. But if you look at the entire Mount Kenya, we can say that it is huge. And that has boosted Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka political career. And that is why Kalonzo Musyoka is doing everything to appease Rigathi Gachagua. He is dancing the tune of Rigathi Gachagua because he is interested at the top seat for presidency. And Rigathi Gachagua is interested in making DCP to be a huge political party, which will have very many elective seats let come 2027. So if you look from that angle, we can say that the popularity of Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka is actually rising because he is being boosted by Rigathi Gachagua. And now, what will be the impact of that? Is the rise of popularity of Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka going to make him to be the president of this republic without being assisted by Fred Okengo Matiangi? The answer here definitely is no. Yes, Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka is gaining popularity, but that popularity has not made him to reach the level that he can compete with William Samoei Arap Ruto and actually make him to be a one-term president. And that is why I have always been campaigning that for the united opposition to stand a good chance of competing with William Samoei Ruto, then they must stay united. That must be done. And if probably because Rigathi Gachagua keeps on calling Fred Okengo Matiangi as a mole, if Fred will actually mean and he goes it alone, that will be a big loss for the side of opposition. And that will be the end of them making one term to be a reality. And William Samoei Ruto will actually deal with them seriously. And he will be re-elected very early in the morning, let come 2022. And therefore, the united opposition, they should not start competing among themselves, a competition which is not fair. They should have a fair competition. By now, they should actually be saying that we want to have a fair team which will select somebody who is going to hit at presidency, somebody who will be acceptable by the people of this republic. And if they will have that kind of a panel, and that panel will look into this issue of getting somebody who will actually compete with William Samoei Arap Ruto fairly, then I am very sure that it will be very easy for the one-term call to be a reality. But because we are seeing faulty lines, we are seeing that Fred Okengo Matiangi is actually not welcomed in the united opposition. And once he will bolt out, then we can say that William Samoei Ruto will be re-elected let come 2027 presidential election. What do you have to say about all this issue? Do you believe that with what is happening currently, the united opposition will select somebody who is capable to challenge William Samoei Arap Ruto? And do you also think that they will remain united until 2027 with what is going on currently? Please drop your comments in the comment section below. And if this is your first time to pump into this YouTube channel, I request you kindly to take a minute and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Give this video a like, share the video to your friends. And if they are lovers of politics, then it's good to request them for us to subscribe to this YouTube channel. And with that, I say thank you. May God bless you until we meet in our next political conversation. Goodbye.